I look so unhappy. Let's turn off the nature. I'm turning on the light. Yeah, I set my alarm today. I didn't go anywhere to make me late. You know, I shouldn't have been late today. What time is it? It's 4:10. Yeah, I have no excuses. I just didn't want to do this today. I'm not feeling good today about everything. Not feeling good about me going live. I know I have to. Yeah, the idea that I have to, I guess, is not the most pleasant. But I don't know. I just don't. Things don't feel right to me, and I don't like it. Not really enjoying this very much. Trying to look and see what's going on here. Let's just start by looking at the latest. After meeting Putin, Trump changes his position on the need for ceasefire. Let's see, what do I have here? I guess we have it like that. Just trying to see where. I guess I could do that. You know, they don't show the whole. That's the thing. I can't get it to show the entire, you know, a lot is cut off when I do it this way. I could do this. I guess we'll do it like that. Yeah, I'm just not feeling good today. I'm feeling stuff. It's off today. There's the energy is off. I just don't feel right. I'm looking at this. I wonder what this is. Is this a radio? Forever spin. Okay, after meeting Putin, Trump changes his position on the need for a ceasefire. Oh my goodness. How could he change his position on that? Of course, there needs to be a ceasefire. If we want people to stop dying, there needs to be a ceasefire. That's step one. Ceasefire. We can we can negotiate later all the details. Ceasefire. That's the foundation for all talks and all discussion, all negotiations. Okay. This is today. Yeah, I'll just read this. President Trump greets Russian President Vladimir Putin at joint base Elmendorf Richardson on Friday in Anchorage, Alaska. On his flight to Alaska, Trump said his top priority was a ceasefire, which it should be, in the Russia-Ukraine war. After meeting with Putin, Trump said a ceasefire was not essential and it was better to seek a permanent peace agreement. What the hell does that mean? Peace agreement. So go ahead, keep killing people while we work out. I mean, what? So he says it's better for permanent. Okay, they come up with a permanent peace deal, and people continue to die. I don't understand. What's the difference? Because ceasefire is the beginning of a permanent peace agreement. Kiev. When President Trump was flying to Alaska for a summit with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, Trump said the main goal was a ceasefire. I really think that's a very good beginning. He said he'd be disappointed if it didn't happen and warned of severe consequences. So much for that. But shortly after meeting Putin, Trump reversed himself. Reverse? Yeah. He's the reverse opposite of me. And said a ceasefire in the Russian-Ukraine war wasn't critical. What do you mean it's not critical? It's the difference between life and death in Ukraine. And Russia, for that matter. I mean, I care about the Russian people, even if I'm very angry that Putin commits such evil acts. He wrote on social media that it was determined by all that the best way. He wrote on social media that it was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement, which would end the war, and not a mere ceasefire agreement, which oftentimes does not hold up. Okay, but if you can't hold up a ceasefire agreement, how are you going to hold up a peace agreement? I mean, does that make any sense? Trump's new position aligns him with Putin, who puts him at odds with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who's headed to the White House on Monday. Zelensky's last visit to the White House, we all saw that on February 28th, descended into a heated dispute between the Ukrainian leader and Trump, with the cameras rolling. Trump told Zelensky that you don't have the cards right now. His famous words, yeah. I think Ukraine holds all the cards. That's my view. Completely opposite. Because everybody wants Ukraine. What we want, the U.S. wanted 50% of Ukraine's mineral rights, and the United States got it. Russia wants land at the border, and he's determined to get it. Boy, everybody wants a piece of Ukraine. What is it about Ukraine? Boy, Ukraine has all the cards. Nobody else. Everybody wants the cards that Ukraine is holding. Okay, and continuing on, he said that the Ukrainian leader would have to make concessions with Russia, really, to prevent the total destruction of his country. So is he saying to Claire, you're going to have to make concessions with the U.S. government The US government wants to be in control of your money. You got to give the US government something. I already did. I've already been paying people free paychecks for years and years and years, all while I've been suffering in utter poverty. What what else do you want from me? I know you tried to kill me and it didn't work, right? I'm still here. What else do you want from me? It's just never enough, huh? Never enough. Since that diplomatic disaster, Zelensky and Ukraine have worked hard to rebuild the relationship with Trump, and he's done a good job. And it appeared to be working. And I side with Zelensky. I mean, he had every reason to speak to. Somebody had to put Trump in his place. It's unfortunate that our own government doesn't put Trump in his place. His vice president is equally disgraceful, if not more so, because I feel like he knows better. Um, it's disgusting what's going on in our government, and I'm at a loss of what to do about it. I can't. I'm not able to do anything about it because nobody will allow me to. I'm still being held hostage. Basically, is how I see it. But I commend Ukraine for doing anything and everything. President Zelensky in particular, for doing anything and everything for the sake of his people. You know, he, you know, he was asserting himself with Trump, and Trump took offense. Trump is the one who is, it's Ukraine, Zelensky, who should take offense, and he did, and he stood up for himself, and then Trump and his idiots just like turn it back on him, turn the tables on him and make it seem like it's him. No, it's you. It's you, Trump administration. It's you who is disgraceful, not Ukraine, not President Zelensky. I wish President Zelensky was president of our United States. We'd be in a lot better shape than we are right now in the world and in general. The Ukrainians consistently praise Trump's peace efforts. Let's focus on the good stuff. Okay. The good part of the damage Trump always does. Yes. He's trying to end the conflict, not for good reasons, but for the sake of receiving, he wants to get credit and get a Nobel Peace Prize, right? It's not about real true peace here. He just wants Ukraine to agree to something, give Russia what he wants, and then like, okay, I get the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Who cares what true peace is? Who cares, the of the horrible atrocity, who cares what Russia has done? It's all Russia, and they act like they got into an argument, and like, we got to settle the argument, and let's be fair, we got to give Russia something. No, we don't. Russia was the aggressor. They had no bit. Russia, Putin was the one who decided to invade Ukraine. It wasn't anybody else. Ukraine was just minding its own business, and Russia just saw an opportunity and decided to take what it wanted, and that shouldn't be rewarded. And I can't even believe that Trump thinks that would be peace, just because Putin wants him to. Again, Putin is doing this for a deeper reason. He's not just a bully. He's portraying a role which my own family played with me. Our country, the United States, is playing with me. I'm like a country. My wealth makes me like a country, and the United States is trying to take what's mine. And they don't want to declassify me. They don't want to give me what's mine. I respect everybody else's bank account, but no one is supposed to respect my bank accounts and my securities accounts and all of my real estate and other assets. No, I don't know. There's different laws for Claire and other laws for everybody else who's a U.S. citizen. I am a U.S. citizen. I should have all the rights of any other U.S. citizen. But I guess they think as long as they keep me top secret, they don't have to um, treat me. I don't have any rights as long as they keep me top secret. I don't have any of the rights of a U.S. citizen to my own property. You know, I don't exist. So they can trample all over my human rights, all over my rights as a US citizen, and change the rules, change the law for me. I don't know, so that they get what they want. I mean, it's like legalizing crime, you know, so they can commit it against Claire. That's what the US government is doing. And until that changes, if you want Putin to stop being the aggressor, and I do beg him to stop, but he doesn't even listen to me. What he is doing is putting pressure on the United States to honor me and respect me and declassify me and give me all that is mine, just like every other US citizen is allowed to possess, their own property. The US government isn't allowed to go into other people's uh, bank accounts or security accounts or real estate portfolios and help themselves to what they want. I mean, this is the United States of America. We don't live in communist Russia, right? I mean, that's Putin's message. You're supposed to be the United States of America. Everybody's equal in your country, right? Um, under indivisible to all, right? I mean, I don't know how it goes. We're supposed to be the land of the free. I'm supposed to have rights in this country, which I don't have. And he's making a point. Okay, so just like the US government, I'm going to just help myself to Ukraine. What are you going to do about it? Nobody's doing anything about what's happening to Claire. So if you're not going to do anything about, if you're not going to withdraw and give Claire back, I don't know if they're holding all of my, assets away from me by keeping me top secret. And I think he's just like doing this. I have previous videos. If you don't understand the story, basically, there's a backstory here, and he's playing a role. Putin is. He's not just a bully. He's portraying the role that the US government is playing with me and my assets. And he's saying, well, if you want this to stop, then you're going to stop it with Claire. As soon as you stop it with Claire and you declassify her, you let her be on her way with all her assets, I'll be on my way with all, and well, Ukraine will be on its way with all its assets, right? I will withdraw. I will let Ukraine be Ukraine. I won't bully Ukraine. And of course, I'll allow Ukraine to unite with NATO and others to protect itself, because I know little Ukraine, didn't ask to be in the spotlight like this. I mean, boy, what is it about Ukraine? I mean, talk about all the cards. It's Ukraine who has all the cards, clearly. All right. It's me who has all the cards, right? I think Putin's trying to show that too. Okay, so since that diplomatic disaster, Zelensky and Ukraine have worked hard to rebuild the relationship with Trump. And that is I think they've done a really great job. But, it was Trump who created that issue. It wasn't Zelensky or Ukraine. That was Trump. Trump and Vance just teamed up against Zelensky and had the cameras rolling. They wanted it on camera. They wanted their MAGA people to see this. They rigged it. They rigged a conflict. Zelensky was just there to talk about peace, to get assistance for his country, who is a democracy like us, and you know, and they accused him of not being appreciative, and he's fighting for his life. He's under attack. It just really made me angry the way Vance bullied and made it seem like turn the tables. This is a CIA tactic. It's disgusting. This is what my family, they got it from my family. These tactics, these CIA tactics were taken from my family. My family turns the tables on me all the time. I'm the bad guy. I'm the devil. I'm the black sheep of the family. It's all Claire. Oh, it's all Claire. Look at Claire. Don't look at us, because we're monsters. And the nothing to see here. We want you to think, it's more likely that she's a monster than all of us are monsters, right? And they work with that principle, right? It's less likely that all of us are devils. It's less likely that all of us are lying. It's more likely that she's lying. It's more likely she's crazy. It's more likely that she's the troublemaker, right? It's that this is how my family has always operated. I've always been the sacrificial lamb for my family. That's why I had to leave. When I turned 18, I had to get the hell out to survive. Okay? There was no I could not coexist with my family. I refused to be the sacrificial lamb. And so I left. I'm not going to be the sacrificial lamb. I'm not going to pretend nothing happened and smile and forget all about it like I had to when I was a child. No, once I was an adult, I didn't have to do that anymore to survive. Yeah, it's been tough to survive, but, I don't have to smile and pretend that nothing happened to me and that there's something wrong with me. No, there's something wrong with my family. There was something wrong with my mother. There was something wrong with my father. There is something wrong with my brother, Mark Winston Elliott, who lives in New Jersey. My younger brother. There is something very wrong with him. I just got out when I could, as soon as I could, because that was the only way I was going to survive. Otherwise, Claire would not have made it out alive. Okay? And you can't blame me, you can't blame me. I was not going to die. And my brother is really angry I'm not dead. He's really upset about that, because the family pretends I'm dead. I'm not there. It's, he admitted to me, it's like you're dead, Claire. Yeah. And that's what he wishes I was. Yeah. Why don't you come up here and inject me with morphine, Mark? Yeah. See if that works this time with Claire, right? You injected both our parents with morphine, but I don't think that'll work with me. The Ukrainians consistently praise Trump's peace efforts. I mean, the part of his efforts that are, you know, peace related. I mean, yeah, you got to have praise for that, but it's not his motive. It's not what he wants. He just wants the Nobel Peace Prize. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize. When Trump pressed for a deal that would give the U.S. access to valuable Ukrainian minerals, the Ukrainians agreed. We have 50% of their mineral rights, access to their minerals, right? Whatever, 50, isn't it? And so we should be defending Ukraine like it's part of the US, or at least some part of the US. I mean, as I said yesterday, 50% of mineral, I mean, that is a vast, huge, valuable asset right there in and of itself. Yeah, it's not the whole land, the people, all the real estate, etc., but it is so valuable what Ukraine gave us. And to think we possess that and we will not defend Ukraine against Russia? I mean, how insane is that? What, you want to just give our assets to Russia? I mean, what about the mineral rights in the area where Russia has occupied? Those are our mineral rights. 50% of the minerals in those lands that Russia is now occupying on the borders those are belong to the US. So we're going to just, I mean, Trump was just so angry with Ukraine and how much the US had done for Ukraine, and Ukraine owed the US. What about Russia? You're going to get upset at Russia for occupying that land where the US owns 50% of the mineral rights? Is Trump just going to like say, okay, Vladimir Putin, you can have them? What the hell is that? He was so rigid and severe with Ukraine. Like, oh, you owe us. I mean, we've been protecting you all these years with Biden and everything. You owe us. Give us 50% of your mineral rights, which is so much more valuable than anything the US ever did for Ukraine. And Ukraine said, okay, because they wanted the US to have a vested interest in Ukraine so they would be more protected from a big country like Russia. But it just seems like it was a waste. It was a waste to have given it to the US because Trump doesn't feel at all um vested in Ukraine. He seems more vested in Russia. I mean, what, I don't understand that. What, did they make some deal? Okay, did in their secret little meeting that no one knows anything about are some of the agreements they came to? Okay, if you let me have the land that I've occupied. Did Putin say this to Trump? Okay, the land I've occupied, I'll give you your 50% of the mineral rights in those lands if you let me keep, keep that land. Okay, we agree on that. Was that one of the major points they agreed to? Because Trump never walks away from anything like that, right? Those that is supposed to be our mineral rights that Russia is still occupying. So Trump wants us to just give that. He just wants Ukraine to give that land to Russia. But what he's telling Ukraine is just give Russia 50% of our mineral rights of the land they occupy. Just give it to Russia. I've never heard Trump ever want to be that generous. He's always trying to get. And he was so severe with Ukraine about what we had given Ukraine, to protect Ukraine against Russia. He doesn't make any kind of sense. Ah, that breeze. It's a nice breeze. Such This is the coolest August we've ever experienced, up here in New York State. It's great. It's cooler than July, and it's the reverse opposite down in Augusta, Georgia. All right. When Trump began pushing for a ceasefire several months ago, the Ukrainians endorsed the move. Putin did not, and Trump became openly critical and grew increasingly frustrated to the point of threatening additional sanctions. I was very impressed with how on board Trump got. I mean, I was shocked. I'm like, yeah, Trump, he's doing what he should do. I mean, he never does what he should do. I was actually impressed that he was being firm and standing behind Ukraine for a change. Continuing, but Putin and Trump appear to be on excellent terms at Friday's summit. While they didn't announce any breakthroughs, Trump now looks to be on Putin's side when it comes to the critical question of whether to pursue an immediate ceasefire versus a comprehensive peace agreement, which would take lengthy negotiations. And I guess we can Russia could keep killing innocent civilians while they're negotiating, to put pressure on Ukraine to settle. I just don't understand. It's just so wrong. And this is the point he's making, you know. Uh, I suspect my um classification, my top secret classification probably expired on Monday, August 11th, about a week ago. I'm just suspecting 8/11 mirroring 9/11. That's a big date in my life other than what happened on 9/11, which is terrible. 9/11 is a date that was in my life before 9/11. I don't know. 8/11? I don't know why we would have picked that day other than alluding to 9/11. 8? What about August? It's after So, I was classified top secret for 50 years on July 23rd of this year. Big 50. Okay, well, let me continue reading. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was asked about the president's position on NBC's Meet the Press with Christian Walker. Okay, I'm about to vomit as I read these words. I can tell you that right now. I have not seen the words. I have not read this article yet, but I'm going to vomit. Forgive me if I vomit while I'm reading this. Quote by Marco Rubio. We've been asking for a ceasefire for a long period of time, Rubio said. The only way to have a ceasefire is for both sides to agree to stop firing at one another, and the Russians just haven't agreed to that. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that's true, Marco. Zelensky, this is just the article speaking. Zelensky will have additional support during Monday's visit. Several European leaders will be traveling with him to Washington to help make the case for further Western support for Ukraine. Zelensky met Sunday in Brussels with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, one of those accompanying him. We agreed on the necessity of a ceasefire for subsequent diplomatic steps, effective security guarantees for Ukraine, and continued sanctions pressure on Russia, Zelensky posted on X. While Ukraine favors an immediate ceasefire. So people don't die. It's the first step to peace is stopping the killing, stopping the bloodshed. Ukraine wants a ceasefire for several reasons. What are they? First, it would be the quickest and most realistic way to stop the fighting in the short term and end the dying, end the killing, end the bloodshed. Ukraine has had no relief from Russian attacks since the full-scale invasion in February 2022. And any respite would be welcome. Russian forces continue to pound Ukraine with offensive operations on the ground in eastern Ukraine and with nightly drone and missile strikes across the country. Give him a break, Putin. I know he's trying to portray the United States. The United States has not backed off. The United States continues their offensive operations in Claire Elizabeth Elliott's life. Yes, I am still under attack. And they don't stop. I have been classified for 50 years. It's time to declassify me. I was promised declassification in 1994. I was promised a life when I was born, when I was a little girl. I was promised all these things. Now, there are people who do not want world peace. They just want war. But I do know that we will have peace. We're, if we don't have peace, someone's going to blow us up again. And then unfortunately, then we will have peace. I don't want us to be blown up again, but with Trump at the wheel, it was bad. I thought George W. Bush, my cousin, was bad enough. And that's when the world blew up last time. And I slammed that reset button. But this time, it's not a reset button that I'm looking to slam. It's a reform button that is going to be slammed this time. And that means all of you who can't cooperate, you're out of here. You're out of here. You're going to blow yourselves up and you're not coming back. It's only the good people, the people who want to cooperate, the people we can work with. And those are the people with all the cards. In reality, those are the people who get to return back. We come back and we build the world of our dreams on earth as it is in heaven. People like Trump, they'll be out of the way, thank goodness. And that would be a new world. That would be like Kozen Rufu. And I don't want it to come to that. But I'm pretty sure, if George W. Bush, I blame, with George W. Bush, he's my cousin. He's not really the leader. His vice president that time was the leader. Thank goodness. What was his name? Bush. And what was his name? Love his daughter. He created an incredible daughter, but he is not the man she takes him to be. And he's the reason why our earth blew up. And nobody remembers, nobody knows. They wiped your minds clean. My mind was wiped clean too, but I've been able to retrieve the memories to know. I'm sure people in Vega know. And even when they come down here, they just keep it a secret because it's top secret. Like I am, but I remember. It took me a long time to remember, but I do remember now. Yeah. Anybody who doesn't cooperate and doesn't care about world peace and having a good world, you'll be out of here. You'll be gone. You'll destroy yourselves, not us. The good people will live on here on earth and will build the world of our dreams. I just don't want it to come to that. But we might not have a choice. Ukraine says the two sides need a ceasefire first, and I totally agree. I mean, let's just stop the killing, and then we can take the next step, which is working out some kind of plan going forward. I mean, the first step is stop the killing. So I mean, Putin, who is mimicking the United States, mind you, who does not relent in their attack of me, even though I've earned my declassification, I've put in my time. It's the right thing to do, and it will be done one way or another, whether Trump or anyone else likes it or not. They don't have control. They think they have control. The devils always think they're in total domination. They always think they're in total control. They are not. But then they want us to prove it. Okay, well, it will soon be proved, unfortunately. That's what makes devils devils. They go where they shouldn't. They think they want to be in control. No, it's the truth that's in control. Anyone who is governed by the truth, that's who's in control. It's the truth that dominates and is in control in the end. And anyone who doesn't understand that or honor that and gets in the way of the truth, those are the people who are the devils, and those are the people who will lose in the end and will have to pay for the damage they create, that they committed to themselves and others, because they're damaging themselves and their own lives too. Our vision. Okay, so Ukraine says the two sides need a ceasefire first and can then sit down and negotiate the much more complicated terms of a permanent peace agreement. I agree. I mean, that is the natural. It's just so natural. That's the first step. Come on, US, stop. Let's have a ceasefire. Let's stop this. Stop attacking me. Stop harassing me. And let's stop. And then let's work out a peace deal here. Let's work out my declassification. Our vision is this is Zelensky. Our vision is a ceasefire first, and then everything else. Well, I guess it's not Zelensky. It's Serhiy Leshenko, an advisor to Zelensky. He said this on Ukrainian television. If we negotiate before the ceasefire, it creates a big risk for Ukraine. If there's a ceasefire, it opens up space for diplomats. Ukraine also fears that without a ceasefire, Putin will keep buying time and dragging out the war. Of course he will, just like the United States does with Claire. They keep dragging this out. I've been classified for 50 long years. Come on. Come on. Let's wake up. It's time for a peace deal. It's time to declassify, Claire. Do it. Stop this harassment. I mean, you've been harassing me all my life. I mean, longer than 50 years. Since even before I was born, you were harassing me in utero. Let's do this. I'm born. I have survived the deal. There's a contract. I survived. If I survive, the CIA always promised that I could have everything that was mine as if I survived. And they were determined that I would not survive. Okay. But here we are. The year is 2025. Today is what, August 17th, Sunday. Claire Elizabeth Elliott survives and thrives. I mean, not thrives. I don't have any of my money to thrive, but I'm alive and well. And the deal, it's in the contract. Why are you breaking the contract, USA, US government? What's the deal? I am ready to go. I guess it's really just Trump, isn't it? All agencies signed off on my declassification, right? That's what happened in time for Monday, the 11th. And it was just Trump who's holding it back. He's the president of the United States. And does the president always have to approve every declassification? If it hasn't, well, it has a lot to do with him because he's all over my files. The Epstein files are just one part of my files, just one little part, one little tiny little section, subsection of my files, plural. And yeah, just one little baby part. And it's Trump that's standing in the way, the Trump administration, by extension. And I mean, they think they have all the power, don't they? Hmm. And they don't really have MAGA with them. Not on this one with the Epstein files, but it's kind of died out a little bit. I don't know what is going to happen. Something's about to happen. And I really hope it's not Trump blowing up the world. Something's about to happen, though. I know my people are keeping me here in New York State without any money for us to go anywhere. They're keeping me in New York State indefinitely because something is about to go down. And I want everyone to get ready. Something's about to come down. I don't know what. I don't know when. They're keeping me here. They don't want me to go anywhere. They don't want me to leave the state. There's some legality. They want me to stay in New York because I'm safe here, because this protects my interests legally. Somehow, maybe something's processing. I expired on Monday. There's probably a process. I mean, Trump in one swoop could declassify me, right? I mean, he was the final. Everybody signed off on me, and I believe it was Trump that's the holdout. He's the only holdout. And because he's the only holdout, they have to process me differently to declassify me. I'm going to be declassified, whether Trump is on board or not. And this is why he occupied Washington, D.C. And I'm going to look up, how things are declassified when they're allowed to expire. Like, is there a process I don't know. I'm not sure. But we're going to look it up before I'm done today. Mm-hmm. Okay, so continuing, Ukraine also fears that right, I read that already, that without a ceasefire, Putin will keep buying time and dragging out the war like the United States with me. According to Ukrainian leaders, Putin believes time is on his side. This is according to the Ukrainians. Putin believes time is on his side and he intends to keep fighting until he wins what he wants on the battlefield or gets concessions from Ukraine. Insanity. Insanity. Like the US, insanity. A ceasefire, Ukrainians say, would force Putin to negotiate. Right. But the thing is, right, I mean, the bloodshed needs to stop right now. And then we can focus, instead of spending all this time and money bombing Ukraine, Putin can come to the table and figure out a deal that works for everybody. And he has to know he's the aggressor. He's the one that violated the law. He doesn't get anything. He needs to reparations are in order here. Not he doesn't get anything. He needs to it's Ukraine that gets everything, and they get everything. Sorry. I don't want Ukraine to give anything more away than they already have. And I certainly don't want Russia to keep the land they stole. Russia's approach to negotiations. At the Alaska summit, Putin again raised his favorite talking point that the root causes of the conflict need to be addressed for a lasting peace. Root causes, like cause and effect. He's sounding Nietzsche and Buddhist, isn't he? But root causes. Okay, what are the root causes? Can you explain that? Can you elaborate, Putin? This includes an expansive list I probably need glasses. This includes an expansive list of demands that Russia has not been able to achieve on the battlefield. Like, what are these? An expansive list of demands that Russia has not been able to achieve on the battlefield. Like what? What, they want more land? They want to occupy more land? Okay, they don't feel safe because, they were fine. Ukraine was not invading Russia. Why did they have to invade Ukraine? Because they want that land so they have control of the shore or that location of land in case somebody attacks them. When has the European Union, NATO, or anybody else tried to attack Russia? Russia acts like they were under attack or something. They weren't under attack. And neither was the United States of America when it comes to Claire. How am I attacking you? Yes, when I have my assets, I am not going to continue giving everybody free paychecks. Free checks, like on MTV, free checks, right? What is that? Free money for all. Why should I be giving out my money to everybody else? Does Elon Musk do that? Does I don't know, all these other poster boys. I call Elon my poster boy, but there's a lot of them. Microsoft guy, he's another one. And he has charities, right? He works with charities. He donates a lot of his money. Thank goodness. It's my money, he's doing that with my money. That money is not his. He's not a billionaire without me. And no billionaire is without me. All these billions of dollars, I'm sorry to say, there aren't a lot of billionaires because the money really belongs to one person, and that's me. And I know that really bothers a lot of people, but I've been giving it away, to people I don't even know, and people I don't want to give it away to. I wouldn't give a penny to my brother or my mother or my father. Why would I want to do that? But when I was a child, I thought that was the nice thing to do. It's my money. My parents never gave me very much at all. When I became an adult, didn't give me very much. My father, first of all, they tortured me. They ABUS me, ABUSED'd me. My parents owe me a lot karmically, and I don't owe them anything. They didn't even raise me. All they did was destroy me and make me stronger. If anything, I could thank them for all the torture that made me stronger than I would have been before. Yeah, that's what if anything, that would be it. They weren't parents in, according to what parents, the definition of the word parents. They weren't. They were monsters. So Anyway, let's continue reading. I don't know what else I want to say about that. So I don't know what Russia has been not able to achieve on the battle. I don't know what they're trying to achieve on the battlefield to begin with. Okay. Russia now controls close to 20% of Ukrainian territory, which is too much. They should occupy nothing, 0%, yet is calling on Ukraine to give up additional land it still holds in the eastern part of the country in the Donbas region. Russia wants guarantees that Ukraine will never be allowed to join NATO. It's none of Russia's business whether Ukraine decides to join NATO. It's between NATO and Ukraine. It has nothing to do with Russia. If Russia would like to join NATO, I mean, we can discuss it, but I'm sorry. It's not, that is none of Russia's business. Maybe there wouldn't be a need for Ukraine to join NATO if Russia hadn't done what Russia did. See, Putin is portraying the role of my family, who is insane. It's insanity. Do you see the insanity here? I mean, he says one thing, he wants this, and yet he acts a different way. It's like, why does he have the right to all of the eastern territory of Ukraine? Why is Ukraine a threat to Russia when it's Russia who invaded Ukraine? You see how they turn everything the opposite way, the reverse of what it actually is. That's a CIA technique, and it's based on retardation. This is why it's a technique in my family, because my family is retarded. I'm the only one who's not. I hope you can see that, because when you're retarded, you turn everything's reverse. It's like they have a backwards brain. That's why evil people commit the evils they do, because in their brain, evil is good and good is bad. Like with Trump, he thinks good is weak and evil is strong. He's got that brain, that devil brain that revert. It's like everything's backwards. I guess it's a deformity. It's a deformity. It's like it's a deformity. It's retardation. They want guarantees. Russia wants guarantees. It's Ukraine who needs guarantees, not Russia. They're the aggressor. They started this whole thing. Why does Russia need guarantees? It's Ukraine who needs the guarantees, not Russia. See how he's doing that? I mean, I'm pretty sure Putin doesn't have backwards brain. He's playing a role. Anybody with any logic in their brain, anyone who can see anything logically, you can't be stupid and understand. Okay, you have to have some logic, which is what IQ is. And if you don't have enough logic, if you can't think logically, you're just gonna believe what Trump, anything and everything Trump, the alpha male, believes and says and spurts out of his mouth. That's the way it works. So Russia wants guarantees that Ukraine will never be allowed to join NATO. It's none of your freaking business. And really, how dare you think you have any say in the matter? Russia also wants an agreement that would greatly restrict the future size of Ukraine's military. What about Russia's military? I think that Russia is insisting on everything Ukraine should insist on. Isn't that weird? I swear Putin is doing that intentionally. He is not that. He doesn't have that brain. I know he doesn't. I can tell he doesn't. He's just mimicking my family's retardation and this country's retardation, to be honest. Okay. Ukraine rejects all these demands, and I stand behind Ukraine, and says negotiations on a comprehensive peace deal would go nowhere. I agree, because those things are not even on the tape. That is not anything that can be negotiated. Like, that is not anything that Ukraine should ever agree with. um Okay, so Ukraine rejects all these demands and says negotiations are on a comprehensive peace deal. Oh, on a comprehensive peace deal would go nowhere, while the fighting would grind on. I agree with them. I agree with President Zelensky. That is the case. From Russia's perspective, agreeing to a ceasefire could cost the Russian military its momentum in the fighting. Why do we want to continue the fighting? Who cares about momentum? I mean, Russia is dying too. Russians are dying as well. What, doesn't Putin care about the Russian soldiers? If he doesn't care about Ukrainian people, doesn't he care about the Russian soldiers fighting this war against Ukraine? Um, so it's momentum in the fighting, where Russia has been making incremental gains in the past 2 years, though at an extremely high cost in casualties. Yes, a truce would reduce Russia's current leverage and ease the pressure on Ukraine. And Trump agrees with that? Like, oh yeah, let's do that. Okay, yeah, you're right, Putin. You're right, Vladimir. Okay. Yeah, let's put that pressure on Ukraine. Let's do that. Yeah, got to pressure that Ukraine. That Ukraine has to do what we say. Yeah, Ukraine. They were minding their own business, being a country, and you know they need to comply with with Russian demands, or we can't have peace. Yeah, like that's peace. Yeah, okay, if they comply and do what Russia says, because Russia's tall and mighty and has momentum and has been putting too much pressure, and they're going to cave, and then Russia gets what they want. Yeah, well, that's a peaceful world we live in. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Is the United States next? Is Trump going to let Putin invade Washington D.C.? Is that why he's occupying Washington D.C. in preparation for Putin to attack Washington D.C.? I mean, what's going on? This is insanity. Okay, I don't know who's saying this, but everything is going to be about what the Ukrainians can live with, and I guess that must be the person who's talking about Ukraine earlier in the article. Um, in the wake of the Alaska summit, the diplomatic debate is now focused on whether to work for a near-term ceasefire or a permanent peace agreement. We want a permanent peace agreement, which would, but a permanent, I mean, really, to be honest, it's really pretty simple. It's not complicated like Ukraine is saying, a complex. Yeah, it may be complex because Russia is making it complex, but it's pretty simple. The peace agreement, I mean, we stop the fighting, we stop the bloodshed, and we talk to Russia and say, yo, we're not going to invade you. You were the one that invaded us, and we have a right to defend ourselves. Okay, you don't have the right to invade our country and take what land you want. you know I don't know why you want our land. I mean, you never took our land in the past. Why? It was always our country. Our people do not consider themselves Russian. Why do you insist on this land? I guess Russia thinks it somehow gives them an advantage against any attacks from Europe or something. Why is Russia so focused on war? Obviously he's mimicking the United States. You have to see it this way. Putin is mimicking the behavior of the United States against me, and who is still fighting me about my life, my assets, my freedom. It's like, it's my life. I am a human being. I was born a US citizen, born to 2 other U.S. citizens. They were legal. Both my parents are legal U.S. citizens. The government made them legal U.S. citizens. My mother was born in California, even though the story is she was born in Wellsville, New York. She was adopted by my grandparents, who are, well, they were really her genetic grandparents. My genetic parents, it's so funny how they swapped roles and had me be her daughter and her be my mother. This is what the CIA likes to experiment with. And it was a disaster, let me tell you. My father was secretly given birth to by a very young Queen Elizabeth before she ever had any children. She was 14, almost 15 years old. Is that what I worked? No. That was, no. Yeah, but she was 15. He was born in 1941 and she was born in 1926. Yeah, she was 15. He was born July 13th. So she had already turned 15. She wasn't as young as my grandma Elliott, who was 12, turning 13 when she gave birth to Daisaku Ikeda, as my genetic father, who became SGI president, Ikeda, and grew up in Japan. This is what they did to young girls, because it was very important who gave birth to you. And the queen secretly gave birth to my father. He was immediately shipped off to Iowa, and her older sister, my grandma Elliott, raised him as her firstborn child. And she knew that wasn't her child, but actually he was her genetic child. I know it's complicated, and that's why, but that's why she always favored my Uncle Norm, who was also my genetic father. And the story of the family was that he was my father and not Dennis, but that's not true. Dennis was also my genetic father, because I have so many genetic fathers. I know this is not standard. Nobody hears about this. You don't hear about this anywhere because it's top secret. That's why it sounds so wild and crazy. It's top secret. That's why it sounds so wild and crazy. But the fact of the matter is, it's reality. It's top secret reality. So I don't know why I went into all that. You know me. A rabbit hole opens and I go down it. Just like my father Trump, and just like my twin, I guess I should say, because my twin is really Trump. Of course, that's my identical twin in another body. She has a different brain. Trump's he's an idiot. He is my grandma Flanagan's genetic son, I believe, but my grandma had never met him, never knew him personally. He's not part of our family. He grew up in the Trump family, as you know. He was never in our family. We didn't know him at all. He was not born into the lineage. Okay? And you have to be born into the lineage to become queen. Trump is not queen. I'm queen. All right. So all of this will be on full display when Trump and Zelensky meet Monday at the White House. And I'm really glad European leaders are accompanying Zelensky, because we don't want it to be this, I don't want him to be set up again. And, with Vance as vice president and Marco sitting like an impotent man on the couch. I mean, it could happen again. The whole thing that happened the first time. So I really appreciate that the European leaders are, reinforcing the demands on, the Ukrainian demands, because it's absolutely essential for world peace. And, it's insane what Putin is, it's meant to be insane. And I think our U.S. government needs to take an inventory here and figure out what to do, because the world is not going to be able to move forward without me. That's what I truly believe. It's not going to work with Trump being at the helm and operating this way. It's not going to work. We're going to be destroyed. We're rapidly moving towards self-destruction, and Putin knows this. And Putin is all for a new world, I guess, and he's doing his part. He knows it's not the bad cause that the US is making. He knows that he's actually helping to expose the truth, and I guess he's banking on that. He's been told that, I guess. But I just wish that the truth could be exposed without killing innocent people. I just wish. I wish that was possible. And that's why I'm not a politician, because politicians, they make deals like, okay, there's always compromise. And who gets compromised? The people get compromised. Just so two egos can have their way. And I hate that. It's all about the people. The people are the leader, and the leader is the servant to the people. That's the way it's supposed to be. In Kosen Rufu, that's the way it's supposed to be. But we're not in Kosen Rufu, not even close. And in this defiled world, it's the reverse opposite, isn't it? Because devils have reverse brains, and what they think is good for them is bad for everybody else, and whatever the common normal healthy brain thing knows is good, they think it's bad. It's really deranged, and it's making me sad today. It's a rainy day here in Hornell, New York, but it's so nice, the cool breeze. I have the window open, and little rain is coming in, but it's okay. It's so cool and nice. Never gets cool and nice in August in Augusta. Never. This is like the coolest month of the summer here in Hornell. It's so wonderful. August. I don't remember that when I was a kid visiting my grandma. Hornell is just 30 minutes down the road from Wellsville, where my grandma lived. All right. So let me just look. One other thing I want to do is look up when something classified as top secret expires, what is the process of its declassification? Automatic declassification and its process for top secret information. Okay, I guess I should share this tab instead. Okay. Well, top secret information doesn't technically expire in the same way a perishable good does. There's a process for automatic declassification established under Executive Order 13526. Here's how the process generally works. Automatic declassification timeline. Records determined to have permanent historical value and that are more than 25 years old are subject to automatic declassification unless they fall under a specific exemption. Clearly, they thought I fell under a specific exemption. Okay. Because I have been classified for 50 years. And I was a minor. I was 9 years old when I was classified. So I've never been an adult. a declass, I have yet to live life as an adult. I mean, I do day to day, but I'm talking about like owning my own assets because I'm over the age of 21. That is the right of every US citizen, right? But I don't have access to my own assets because I am classified top secret still to this very moment. Over 50 years I've been classified. I was promised that I would be declassified after 30 years. In 1994, I was promised 30 years. I mean, well, they originally worked for 20 and it ended up to be 30 years. And really, you would think it was last year, 2024, but I realized they were talking about 2025, which is this year, because it wasn't. I was originally classified top secret in 1975, and 1995 would have been 20 years. So that's what they meant. They were just getting it done early because the murders happened and it kind of pressed the issue, right? And they got started early and they didn't, it took all summer until September. And here we are. We're still in the summer months this year. And maybe it's taking till, yes, that's right. That's right. They didn't reach an agreement until September. There's my answer. They couldn't come to an agreement until September. It was early September, as I recall, of 1994. So maybe that's when it finally happens. And I can't go anywhere until after that. So something's going to happen by early September, I guess. My wedding anniversary is September 5th. That would be a natural day. And we did talk about wedding anniversaries back when we were trying to decide a day to declassify me. And, of course, I wouldn't have known what my future wedding anniversary would be. Dean and I got married in 2014, September 5th, 2014. And that was, I guess, 20 years. Wait. Yeah, that was over 30 years ago at this point. But in 2014, 1994 was 20 years before, right? Yeah, right. And I guess they needed another 10 years to make, I guess I hadn't satisfied the 30 years, right, that they decided back in 1994 in early September. It was the beginning of September, early, and 9/5 would be about right, my wedding anniversary. There was some reason why we got married on that day. It was spontaneous. We didn't plan it. We decided, I finally agreed to marry Dean on, I guess it was that Wednesday. Wait a minute. I just remember it was an evening. It was a Tuesday evening, which would have been, okay, so Friday was the 5th. It was a Friday we got married. 4, 3, 2. The 2nd of September, we were sitting at Dunkin' Donuts on Peach Orchard Road in Augusta, Georgia, when I turned to Dean and told him, I do need to get married. And, he had begged me to marry him on that Monday, the 1st. I guess it was the 1st. And I didn't give him an answer right away. He had gotten down on his knees and begged me to marry him. And I was just so moved. No man had ever done that for me before. Just gotten on his knees and begged and begged and, please, Clara, will you please? I was like it was every girl's dream. I mean, but I hadn't thought about marrying Dean, like, oh my gosh, I had to think about it. And by the next evening, which I remember to be that Tuesday evening, I finally raised the issue and told him, I do need to get married. And he's like, me. And I'm like, okay, I mean, who better to marry than my best friend, you know? Um, yeah, that's what everybody wants me to do. Okay, of course I should marry my best friend. The person who's been by my side through thick and thin. Just, we had been friends for a year. Of course. And then, we went down to the courthouse on Wednesday to get, all the to make all the preparations. And in Hawaii, we got, my ex-husband and I got married the next day. I was able to get my belt, we decided to get married. You know, we immediately, I had to get some blood work done as the bride, and he went and got the rings. And then the next day we were able to go to the courthouse and get married. It was that quick in Hawaii. But here, I mean, not here, in Augusta, Georgia, we had to get all the forms, and they had a list of all the officiants. They don't marry you at the courthouse in Augusta, Georgia. And we had to go through a long list of officiants. I guess that's what they're called. And we had to get somebody who agreed to marry us. And Dean one, he had one in mind. He saw her name. Her last name was Love. And she couldn't marry us until Friday. So we said, okay. And when we were getting married, I mean, her phone rang, and then she had forgotten to lower the volume of her answering machine. We could hear the people leaving messages. It was just one thing after another trying to stop us from getting married at this wedding chapel. And it's so funny. Dean had forgotten. We didn't have a camera. He had forgotten the camera. I mean, I had given it. He was responsible for bringing the camera. I'd given it to him, and he had forgotten it. He couldn't find his normal glasses. He was wearing his 1970s glasses. And what else was there? And he had forgotten the ring or something like that. I don't know. It was crazy. And I wondered, God, are we not meant to get married? But it was like, it was meant to happen. And we did it. But of course, my name was still Claire Cruz in those days. So it wasn't until we got married in the Lutheran Church on St. Patrick's Day of 2015 that it was, I had to change my name back to my maiden name first. And then we got remarried with me using my maiden name, Claire Elisabeth Elliott, which was legal once I changed it back in a court of law. It really wasn't until then that Claire Elisabeth Elliott married Dean Wayne Boyd on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2015. But we always treat September 5th, 2014 as our true wedding day, because that was when we truly got married. But the first time we ever kissed was at the altar. I didn't let Dean kiss me beforehand because it was just so romantic, to think, oh, the first time we would kiss would be at the altar. He kissed me on my forehead before then, but then we kissed for the first time on the lips at the altar. And then by the time we got married the second time, with me using my maiden name, Claire Elisabeth Elliott, we had already been together intimately. Like, we had never, we were just friends when we got married the first time. And the second time, which was on St. Patrick's Day of 2015, we had been together. I mean, we didn't tell the pastor or anything, but, so I guess a lot of people would say that would be the more natural, that would be the legal marriage, right? Because I was using my legal name, and we had been in we had been in an intimate relationship, starting when we got married on September 5th, 2014. We had been strictly friends. I was his roommate, and we were friends before I became his roommate, and it was completely platonic until we got married. So, and I went into all of that. I don't know why, but that I was talking about 2014 and how that was 20 years after 1994. And it wasn't until early September that they finally reached an agreement, and it was 30 more years of top secret classification for Claire. But but they meant from 1995. So that was this year, and we're almost in September, aren't we? Dean and I have almost been married 11 years on September 5th. So, and we did talk about wedding anniversaries, and it might have been mentioned to me. I vaguely remember something like that. Of course, at the time, back in 1994, I wouldn't have really known what wedding anniversary he was referring to in September, because I had not gotten married in September before. So, but I do remember something like that vaguely. All right, let me continue reading the rules for classified information, top secret classified top secret classification in the United States. Okay. Review for exceptions. Okay, so I apparently am some kind of important exception. Okay, agencies are required to review records approaching the 25-year mark. I was reviewed when I was approaching 20 years, okay? But here they say 25 years is when they review, to see if they need to be exempted from automatic declassification. These exemptions are rare. So I'm rare, you guys, and require approval from the Interagency Security Classification Appeals Panel, which is ISCAP, to remain classified beyond 25 years. So I guess the Security Classification Appeals Panel deemed me too much of a danger to national security, that I needed to be classified 30 more years, top secret. I needed to remain top secret for 30 more years. That's the Interagency Security Classification Appeals Panel. We'll look that up in a moment. Declassification decision. If the information does not meet the criteria for continued classification, which I have never met the criteria ever. You don't classify somebody like me. It was a crime to classify someone like me, a human being, a 9-year-old girl, home alone on July. I mean, I don't know if he came to my house just before the 23rd. He probably did, right? It was the 23rd when it became official. Maybe it was that same day, the 23rd. I was home alone, probably on July 23rd, because that's the day I became classified top secret, because I was mislabeled a threat to national security as a 9-year-old girl home alone on July 23rd, we think, right? Because it was probably the same day that it became, that it was initiated, that it became official. And the Security Classification Appeals Panel, ISCAP, determined that I should be classified 30 more years in 1994. So if the but this is the way it's supposed to work. If the information does not meet the criteria for continued classification, okay, I didn't meet the criteria ever, but somehow they continued mine. The authorized declassification authority determines that it no longer requires protection. So the authorized declassification authority, which means the agency that classified it in the first place, would that be the NSA? I don't know. Marking declassified documents. When a decision is made to declassify, the information must be marked as such. Okay, the original classification markings are struck through with a single line, and new classification markings such as unclassified is stamped on. The person performing the declassification will sign or initial a note, annotate the date, and depending on the original classification level, indicate the authority, e.g., the date, time, group of the message that directed the declassification. Okay, so should we note that on my forehead? I don't know all that information. Mhm. Does this work? Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. I just want to see if I can do something. Hold on. You guys are going to think I'm really kooky. Just trying to make a point. Okay. And I don't know if this is, I think this is backwards. I guess I could look at this. Wait. Okay. This is forward. Okay. I know you think I'm kooky, but I'm just, I don't know what else to do anymore. Okay. It didn't write. Oh, I know. I have a pen that will write. This one will write. I think it will. It didn't write well. All right. Let's find something better. Let's find something better. Oh, these might work better. Let's see, here's purple. Okay. Yeah, let's try these. Okay. It's kind of tricky doing this. Oops, wrong way. I can't do it. It's not doing it really well. I'm writing unclassified. Okay, there's that. That's It's not working. I'm sorry. I'm probably messing up my pens. Class. That's like a little kid, isn't it? There it is. I know you can't read that. I know, I'm so silly. I know. I'm just frustrated, okay? Do anything to get my life. There's another S there. And I classified class. I don't know. It's not really turning out very well, is it? It's an I there. See, like it doesn't work after a while. Uncla. UNCLA. A is not very good. It's hard to write it. See, my screen is mirrored. Unclassified. Unclassified. I look ridiculous. I know I do. I'm declassifying myself, okay? I'm declassifying myself. Maximize. Can't read that very well, can you? Let me see what you look like. What it looks like. Can you read it? All right. Let me go back to reading the rest of it. See, it says, so marking declassified documents. That's what I just did, okay? The original classification markings are struck through with a single line. You never saw them on my forehead. Okay, so, and a new classification marking, such as unclassified, is stamped on. Electronic records. In the case of electronically stored documents, any original hard copies may be properly destroyed using appropriate shredders and logged. In essence, the process involves a review to assess whether the information still warrants classification, followed by the physical or electronic marking of documents to reflect their declassified status, and potentially the destruction of classified hard copies. Automatic declassification generally occurs after 25 years, not 50, 25. But exemptions exist for particularly sensitive information. That's me. Ooh, I am particularly sensitive. Oh, here's the Department of Justice talking about frequently asked questions. Regarding what is automatic declassification? It's the declassification of information based on the occurrence of a specific date or event as determined by the original classification authority. I don't know. I guess Larry Shaw, the doctor of delusion, determined that I should be classified for 20 years, which was until 1995. And that's why they got going early after the murders, because I was told I was up for renewal at that time. And, but I would have been classified for 20 years. Apparently, that's what Larry Shaw determined. I guess he didn't think I would make it to age 28, which is how old I was at that time. He just thought I'd keel over and die way before then. I mean, that's why they did this. The guy, like Larry and all the people who don't want me to exist, they classified me this way. It's a crime to classify a human being, a 9-year-old girl like this. And the FBI allowed them to do it and watched them do it because there was no other way to protect me from my parents, who they didn't want to know they didn't want my parents to know who I was. But both my parents are dead now. They're gone. It's just my brother, my younger brother, who my mother didn't even give birth to. Okay. That's the only other person I grew up with. That's the only person who's still alive that I grew up with. Okay. Let me make myself a little smaller now. Okay. So you can see this better. Where is here we go. Or the expiration of a maximum time frame for the duration of classification established under the order, which is 25 years maximum. I've been classified top secret for 50 years and counting, just so you're aware. Why is automatic declassification important? The automatic declassification process increases the potential release of formally classified national security information to the general public and researchers, enhancing their knowledge of the United States democratic institutions and history, while at the same time ensuring that information which can still cause damage to national security continues to be protected. I think that Trump is more of a threat to national security than I am. Because look at what he is doing with Putin. I would be standing up to Putin. But see, Trump, the thing about Trump, this is why he's more of a threat to national security than me. I know I have this because I wrote unclassified, okay? Let me make a little thing. Mikey, it's okay. Is Dean here? I wonder where he went. Dean? It's okay, Mikey. It's the wrong one. Yeah, this is my book. That's not what I meant. I meant this one. Deed! I don't know where Deed is. Mikey's barking. Okay. I'm gonna put this big on my screen so you can read it while I go and see what's going on with my puppy dog barking downstairs. All right, I'm back. Hold on. Let's see. I'll just do this for right now. Sorry about that. I don't know what my big boy was barking about. Seemed like he was barking at a dog or something, but I didn't see any dog out there. And Dean was kind of sleeping. Sometimes he pretends that he's like his disabled brother and he's having some kind of what's the word, seizure. He just like pretends he's sick like his brother. I don't know, growing up he didn't get any attention because all the attention was on his brother, big brother Gene, who was disabled, severely disabled. Everybody had to take care of him, and he just kind of does things to get attention, like pretends he's Gene or something, and that's what he was doing, like pretending to have a seizure. He swears up and down he's really having a tremor or something, and it's not true. Anyway, he's okay. All right, I just want to finish this, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, I didn't realize I had been on so long. I guess I always find things to talk about. I mean, I guess that's good. What is the objective of automatic classification? Let's just make me smaller here. The object of automatic declassification is to declassify I guess I already read this. It's to declassify information without compromising national security. And what I was saying was, I think Trump is a greater threat to national security than I could ever be. Because why? Because Trump wants my money. He will do anything to try and get my money. My money is managed. We put the money over in Russia instead of in the US, because we knew the US government, it would, in my absence, I mean, I have people managing, all my money and assets in my absence, right? And they're doing it according to the plan, and, there are people overseeing them and everything, my money is protected. I'm not protected, but my money is. And, but I don't die, at least. I just am tortured and go through all the motions of dying again and again, but I don't die. And, yeah, unclassified. I spelled it wrong, didn't I? There's a little I in there. Sorry. There. That's what I meant. Unclassified on my forehead. I guess wait. Yeah, I mean, Trump will do anything to get my money, and he will compromise. I mean, he said that nothing less than a ceasefire would do before he went into that meeting with Putin, and now Putin must have played with him and said, "Oh yeah, I'll give you," they must have been talking about a deal with my money. Of course, Putin, Putin is not the bad guy, even though he's done some very bad things, and everybody is understandably does not trust him. And I mean, but please keep in mind, he is mimicking the United States and how the U.S. government has treated me. Okay, I'm Ukraine, and I've been horribly violated by the United States, who has still not declassified me. Okay. I'm still waiting to be declassified after 50. I've been classified for 50 years and counting. It's top secret. And I never even met the criteria for being classified top secret in the first place. I was mislabeled a threat to national security by Larry Shaw, the doctor of delusion. And they were, only 20 years, I guess, is what they thought I needed before I die and keel over and die. But yeah, I was still alive and well in 1994. I was 9 years old and I was going to be turning 29 soon. Oh, shoot. Okay. So they extended it 30 more years. She won't be alive in 30 years. Oh, hell no. Here I am. I'm alive in 30 years. And I really do think I expired on Monday, the 11th. And that's why Trump occupied DC. And I believe that maybe it's my wedding anniversary in early September that I'll be declassified. I don't know. Maybe I'm going through a process right now. I have to guess. Your guess is as good as mine. I just don't know. I'm not going to be declassified for much longer. I will be declassified. That is a guarantee. Okay, so the presumption is that 25-year-old information. Okay, so they don't want to compromise national security, but they do want declassified information. I mean, it's ridiculous to keep things classified that don't need to be anymore for the sake of, the historical record and the people's interest, need to know. I'm of utmost public need to know. I mean, people, the public needs to know about me. I am a major part of history and the U.S. government is depriving the U.S. citizens the right to their own history, by depriving them of me and my story, my true life story, and everything connected to me. I'm a can of worms that they don't want to open, but they don't have a choice. Okay, I shouldn't have ever been classified in the first place. Okay, so the presumption is that 25-year-old information is declassified unless it clearly, and my name is Claire. I don't clearly fall under one or more of the 9 exemption categories in Section 3.3b of the order and has been specifically exempted by an agency head or senior agency official. All right, I would really like to know what this is. I've already looked this up before. Under one or more of the 9, let's look it up. Let me just, and what order is that? What order? This executive order? Okay, let me just Google this. And let me just put in that executive order. Okay, so let me just share this tab. Section 3.3b specifically addresses exemptions from automatic declassification. These exemptions, when approved, allow agencies to extend the classification of certain records beyond the standard 25-year period if their release would harm national security. There are 9 categories of information that can be exempted from automatic declassification under this section. Here's a breakdown of the 9 exemption categories: military plans, weapons systems, or operations. Is Claire, am I on the screen? Am I a military plan, weapon systems, or operations? Yes or no? The answer is no. Okay. 2, foreign government information. Information provided to the U.S. by other governments under an expectation of confidentiality. Am I foreign government information? Yes or no? The answer is no. Okay. 3, intelligence activities, including covert action, intelligence sources or methods, or cryptology. information related to intelligence gathering, covert operations, the means by which intelligence is collected, and encryption methods. Okay, my father, Dennis Wayne Elliott, was a CIA operative. Daddy, Clint Eastwood, is a CIA operative. Trying to think who else in my life around me. You know, a lot of people became CIA operatives thanks to me approving it. You know, like all the people who manage my money are CIA operatives. Yeah, I was raised by CIA operatives. I was born into the CIA, yes. But does that um, uh, affect intelligence gathering or covert operations that are currently underway? The means by which intelligence is collected. We all know if somebody is a CIA operative, they are collecting information and feeding it to someone, right? Spying, I don't know. It's called intelligence. And we have CIA operatives all around us every day, everywhere we go. They're everywhere. So it's my family is not, I'm just telling you, I'm just outing them, but they're all dead. I mean, well, not daddy, but daddy's not in my life anymore. So yeah, I mean, I have other CIA operatives and FBI in my family. Yes. But I don't think that I satisfy this requirement. This does not, we're trying to, I'm just trying to review here. It needs to clearly fall under one or more of these 9 exemption categories that we're going through right now. And I don't think I clearly fall under this one, intelligence activities. I don't think I do. Okay. I'm not part of intelligence activities right now that I know of. And I don't think it applies to me anymore. Maybe at some point I was or something, but not anymore. So, okay, so answer to number 3, yes or no? No. 4, foreign relations or foreign activities of the United States, including confidential sources, information about diplomatic relations, foreign policy initiatives, and sources used in foreign affairs. I have nothing to do with that. So, number 4, yes or no? The answer is no. Okay, so far, no, 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 no for the first 4. Okay. Number 5, scientific, technological, or economic matters related to national security. This covers information about scientific research, technological advancements, and economic policies that impact national security. Would you say yes or no for number 6? The answer, or number 5, excuse me. Number 5, the answer is no. I am not scientific, technological, or economic. I'm not a scientific, technological, or economic manner relating to national security. No. Okay. Answer is no. Number 6, U.S. government programs for safeguarding nuclear materials or facilities. We don't even need to read through the descriptive part of this. The answer is no. I have nothing to do with nuclear materials. Number 6, answer yes or no. No. Okay. Number 7, vulnerabilities or capabilities of systems, installations, infrastructures, projects, plans, or protection services related to national security. Number 7, yes or no. And oh no. Okay, I have nothing to do with anything like that. Okay, so number 8, the development, production, or use of weapons of mass destruction. Yes or no? No. I'm a human being. No. I haven't created any weapons of mass destruction. I have nothing to do with any weapon production of or production of them for mass destruction. Okay, number 9, information that would reveal current vulnerabilities of systems, installations, or infrastructures relating to national security. No. The answer is no. This category is not explicitly mentioned in the provided search results, but it is a common interpretation of the overall intent of section 3.3b, which means what? Okay. These exemptions are not automatic and require specific approval from the agency head and notification to the director of the Information Security Oversight Office. The purpose of these exemptions is to protect information that, even after 25 years, could still pose a threat to national security if released. Really? All right. So maybe I should contact this office and ask them why, after 50 years, I'm still not declassified. This, what is it called? What's the name of the group that trying to find the name of the the agency, whatever. Well, it's the oversight office, but I'm talking about that other. I guess I saw it on a previous page here. Maybe it was this thing. Well, anyway, there it is. Let me copy that. Interagency Security Classification Appeals Panel, ISCAP. All right, so I need to contact them. I guess if nothing happens, I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, I'm just making a copy of that, of the panel's name. So, this is the, okay, review. Let me copy the whole, and put it, I'm just saving this. So, review for exemptions. Agencies are required to review records approaching the 25-year mark to see if they need to be exempted from automatic declassification. These exemptions are rare and require approval from the Interagency Security Classification Appeals Panel to remain classified beyond 25 years. And obviously that's what happened to me. So, if the Navy SEALs to extend classification. If the Navy SEALs doesn't show up to my door, pretty soon, I'm going to have to, I don't know what, I should just contact this panel. Hey, why am I still classified after 50 years? How am I a threat to national security? Just because Putin is my genetic father? Is that why? And because he manages my money that Trump wants so bad? You'd think it would be me that wants it so bad, and I do, but I would never, ever, never, ever, no, not that one. Let's stop sharing. I would never, ever, ever my kitty cat is looking through a hole in my screen. I guess she knows better than to try and get out on the second floor. He'll do anything to get that money. He doesn't care. It is Trump who is the threat to national security. He wants my money. He wants that money so bad. And Putin knows it, and Putin's in control of it. And the reason we put Putin, he's one of many people. I mean, not many, but he's a key person in control of it. He's not the only person in control of it. And he helps to manage it, and protect it. And we trust him. He is trustworthy, unlike our own government, obviously, with Trump in charge. I mean, I can't even believe that our government put Trump in office, allowed him to be put in office when he is so clearly a threat to our national security. Look at what he does. He says he's going to be all tough on Putin, and that nothing short of a ceasefire is acceptable, and that there will be severe consequences if they don't come out of their summit with a ceasefire agreement. And then he changes his tune because Putin said, "Oh, I'll give you some of Claire's money." He's just dangling it like a carrot in front of Trump. And Trump, it's so easy to control Trump. Oh yeah, just tell him that, and he'll agree with you. He'll do anything to protect you. He doesn't care about peace. He doesn't care about Ukraine. He doesn't care about the United States. He just cares about money, money, money. Money, money, money. I wish I could play that song. That's his theme song from The Apprentice. Money, 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 money. I bet I co-wrote that song that he used. Money, 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 right? Ah. Trump is the threat to national security, not me. Let's classify Trump. Then we could get him out of office. That would be great. Let's classify tops, the entire Trump administration. We need to classify them top secret so we can get them the hell out of office and put somebody in there that is not a conflict of interest to our national security. I mean, Trump will buy anything. It's just disgusting. This is the reality we're faced with in 2025. And history is going to look back on this time as, I mean, it's never has anything like this ever happened in US history or in the history of I guess in dictatorships, it happens all the time, right? I don't know, not something like me though. I'm a first in the entire history of the world. Yeah, I guess that's enough to go over today. It's been so long. It's been over 2 hours. Got to cut it off right now. Yeah, not very happy. I'm not feeling as good today as I was yesterday. I mean, the energy, I just wasn't feeling, the energy wasn't good today. I don't know. I guess it's whatever I'm picking up on. It's not good right now. It was better yesterday. But I guess I'll just keep doing this. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing by doing these live streams. I feel ridiculous. Nobody watches. Nobody cares. I don't know. I see a number one. Somebody's watching, but I don't know who it is. And YouTube takes away my views all the time. I see views and then they don't get registered. I don't exist. All right. Well, I'm going to end this non-existent live stream. Non-existent Claire is signing off. Give me a thumbs up. I deserve it. Subscribe if you haven't already, because you don't want to miss all the top secret information I'm going to expose and throw your way. Be the first to know. Have a good one. Peace out.